I'm sure you've all seen Joe Rogan and RFK Jr. challenge Peter Hotez, the woke doctor, to a debate, and Peter Hotez, of course, runs away from the debate over the jab situation. Joe Rogan and RFK have their stance, and it's more on the common sense side of things, like why would we risk taking this experimental jab whenever we don't really need to, because the thing that we're taking the jab for is kind of similar to a common cold, so why take the risk taking the experimental drug when we already know what the virus does to us? It's probably not going to kill us on the balance of probabilities if we're healthy. It's probably not going to kill us, whereas the jab, we just don't really know. And, you know, of course, these woke doctors out there like Professor Hotez, like Peter Hotez, take extreme offense to this because they have to protect their standing within the scientific community, within the medical community. They want to gain the good favor of these larger corporations that sell those drugs, so they continue to defend those drugs, even though they've been proven to not do very good things for the human body. And now Aaron Rodgers is entering the debate with RFK Jr. and with Joe Rogan, taking Joe Rogan's side and RFK Jr.'s side, which he has been very much a defender of Joe Rogan and a proponent of RFK Jr. and RFK Jr.'s ideas in the past. Aaron Rodgers has again entered the CV jab debate after making a social media post mocking vax-pushing Professor Peter Hotez. Hotez hasn't been in the spotlight for all the, or has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons this week after Joe Rogan challenged him to debate RFK Jr. on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Rogan offered $100,000 to a charity of Hotez's choice after the professor called out Rogan and RFK Jr. over alleged vax, I can't say that word, misinformation. For years, Hotez has been pushing the CV vax relentlessly, as well as masking indoors. Man, this article is really making me dance around certain words really hard, dude. It sucks having to do that, but, you know, it is what it is, man. That's the platform that, you know, we choose to watch, that we choose to make videos on. Got to play within the rules, got to play the game. Peter, if you claim what RFK Jr. is saying is misinformation, yeah, we already know that whole story. If you don't know, I did a video on it, you know, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, where Joe Rogan challenged Peter Hotez to a debate, and then, you know, I think the pot is up to like $2.6 million to a charity of Peter Hotez's choice if he actually just shows up to the debate. He doesn't have to win or anything. He just has to show up to Joe Rogan's door, which he only lives a couple of hours from. It's not that far of a drive. Yeah, he only lives a couple of hours there. You drive a couple hours and you get $2.6 million to a charity of your choice. You can give that to Big Pharma if you want to, Peter. But of course, instead, he just runs away. And now Joe Rogan has destroyed him. RFK Jr. has destroyed Peter Hotez. And now it's Aaron Rodgers' turn to absolutely destroy Peter Hotez. Aaron Rodgers decided to play ball in the ongoing feud by showing his support for RFK. Here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say. RFK Jr. would mop the floor with this bum, the newly signed New York Jets quarterback posted on his Instagram Reels. The comment was attached to an older Rogan podcast clip featuring Professor Hotez admitting to unhealthy eating habits. Rodgers took a jab at Hotez again while writing, "I don't take health advice from unhealthy people," referring to Hotez's beefy appearance. Rodgers had previously shown his support for RFK, and we all know the whole jab/NFL ordeal that he went through. So he absolutely demolishes that woke Professor Peter Hotez. And I think it's pretty funny what's going on with Peter Hotez over here, man. He's still having a meltdown. He's still embarrassing himself. I mean, just look at him, dude. He definitely doesn't look like somebody that you should be taking health advice from. But he retweeted this tweet, and I'm not sure if he knows that this is sarcasm or not, from Viva Frey. It says, "Hard-hitting journalism right here, courtesy of Aaron Burnett and CNN. Thank you for your courage and scientific expertise in answering those questions, Peter Hotez. You have truly convinced me the jab is in fact safe and effective." With that thorough and compelling analysis with a laughing emoji, it's obviously satire, it's obviously sarcasm, and Peter Hotez retweeted it. And he has just been non-stop tweeting things about Joe Rogan. It's kind of embarrassing. Here he's responding to Jordan Peterson talking about the debate, but he's been tweeting out articles constantly, man, about Joe Rogan. Here is one of them where he tweeted out an article about Joe Rogan. "Sorry, Joe Rogan, scientists should never debate anti-jabbers." Here's another one. "Joe Rogan wants a scientist to debate a jab denier. Turning him down was the right thing to do." And that was from Vox. And it's just, dude, it's just endless. Here's another one. "Peter Hotez, a virologist, has not taken the bait for which he is assaulted on right-wing media." I mean, this is only 4 hours ago. Like, this is a span of a few hours where he's just spamming these articles, having an absolute meltdown on Twitter because Joe Rogan challenged him to a debate. And now Aaron Rodgers is taking shots at him. Everybody with common sense out there just knows the guy is a clown. But here is Peter Hotez's response to Aaron Rodgers joining in with Joe Rogan and with RFK Jr. He said, "Disappointed he took a cheap shot versus me this week in 2021 during our awful Delta wave. We were losing 2,000 Americans a day." I'm not even going to read the rest of that, dude. I don't really care. He's just going to give a bunch of nonsense numbers about how many people were dying and how protective and how effective the jab was. He also said, "This is so unnecessary. I have no bad thoughts for Aaron. I needed to speak out in 21 and try to save lives. 200,000 unjabbed Americans needlessly perished." He keeps using that number. I would love to see how he came up with it. I don't understand, but let me know what you're thinking about Aaron Rodgers jumping in with Joe Rogan and RFK Jr. to absolutely destroy this woke doctor, and the fact that he's still having meltdowns on Twitter about it, just constantly tweeting out articles and retweeting people who are using sarcasm to own him. It's so embarrassing, man. Peter Hotez is an embarrassment to the human race. Let me know what you're thinking, though, about the whole situation in the comments.